So what do we think? Am I going to be able to eat a popsicle while we podcast?
I'm gonna allow it. I have like little quick crimes of the week pulled up.
Oh, okay.
Because they're not from this week, they're from March, but one of them is kind of funny. I mean, they're all kind of funny, but... So I'll share a few of those, considering I failed miserably today.
Well, you didn't fail miserably. You had everything prepared. You just...
For, like, what, a week now, I thought I had everything prepared, and I was like, I have my notebook in my car. I'm not going to take it out, so whenever Aaron wants to podcast, we could just podcast.
Yep.
And then, come to find out, I grabbed my old notebook, not my new notebook, with my new story in it, and here I am with a bunch of stories everyone's already heard.
I mean, you could just tell one of those stories. We could leave this part out and then see if anyone noticed.
Oh my god, no, because then they'd be like, wow, Jordan, you're an idiot. You told the same story twice.
You already did that one. Well, last week I thought the story I was telling, or not maybe last week, one of the weeks, I thought the story I was telling was what you'd already told because it was so familiar.
Yeah.
I still don't know where I heard that story.
I don't know.
All right, we got to pause and let the dogs in. Welcome to Crime Crazy, the weekly true crime podcast with Aaron Plime
and Jordan Middleton,
where we prove
that we know nothing about our legal system,
but we're still crazy for a good true crime story.
Bing, bong, bing. Got it right.
Except for the weekly part.
Yeah, that's a little different these days.
But you know what? We are doing a really good job at sticking to the new schedule, so that counts, right?
Which we needed a new schedule for now.
Definitely.
It's crazy.
Well, and in the vein of life and podcasting is too difficult.
Yeah.
We're gonna just, play it by ear today.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was thinking about this, and I don't have any good place for this to fit, so I'll just say it at the beginning.
Okay.
I dreamt last night that I was being arrested, and I was gonna go to jail and have on my record a crime, and my crime was a DUI, which is like not anything I'd ever get because I'm insanely careful about that kind of thing. But yeah, it was terrifying and so disappointing.
Well, I would say I didn't almost get arrested, but it wasn't a dream. But I had cops show up somewhere I was.
Jordan had a what?
Okay,
they called on you. Somebody called on you.
Someone tattled. Right. Okay. Snitches get stitches, first off.
No.
No, just kidding. So I was at a friend's studio, and we were doing a photo shoot. And she's
turning red.
I am, because it was just so awkward. So in front of the door, because the studio is like concrete walls. Like there is no windows. It is just a door, and it's a huge, wide door. Mm-hmm. And that is it. Well...
Are you going to tell them what kind of photo shoot? That's really integral to the story.
I mean, when I get there. Okay. So then there was this thing that she had made that held up sheer curtains. And I was standing in front of the curtains to make like a silhouette. Well, I didn't have a whole lot of clothes on because it was a boudoir shoot. So I'm standing there and the sun is coming from behind me, and which makes the silhouette and blah, blah, blah. And then on the wall, I see these two guy heads. And I'm like looking at that, and then before I can process, I hear police. So I wrap myself up in the lace robe and kind of slink back to the wall, and I'm like, I'm not running, I'm just not decent. Because I didn't want them to come in and chase me for running, even though there was no back exit. So I'm standing up against the wall. My friend who's the photographer was like, this is my studio. I rent this place out. What are you doing here? Oh, well, we got a call of, we got a call of kids playing in an abandoned building with sheets.
It's so specific.
What kind of call? Yeah, right? And then he said, but you guys are clearly not kids. I was like, great, you saw my ass. This is awesome. So that was super embarrassing. And then they like lingered for a long time. So then I was like, Sarah, are they cute? Like what's going on here? She's like, yeah, one, but like not the other. But we're waiting and waiting. It was like 10 minutes, and they finally decided to leave. Mm-hmm. So then we can start again. And she was like, the whole rest of the time, she just kept apologizing. I was like, it is not your fault.
Right.
Someone must have drove by and was just like seeing people in and out. And then I guess the curtains, I don't know. It was very Very strange of a call.
Like, what? I understand, like, kids playing in an abandoned building. Oh, they might get hurt.
There were 2
With
cars parked out
sheets?
front. They're in both, like, I mean, mine's a newer car.
Yeah.
And hers is a newer car.
Yeah, like nice
parked
vehicles.
out, parked out front. It's like...
There's
even a sign that has the address that says no unpermitted parking, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. Like, it's very well kept there. It's not like an
Right.
abandoned, like, actually haunted abandoned building.
Right.
I was just... And that the moment he was like, yeah, you guys are not kids. And I was like, no, I'm not. Thank you.
I'm also in my underwear.
Yes. I was like, I'm not running. I'm just not decent.
Please don't shoot
chase
me.
Yeah, please don't chase me. Because then that would have been really awkward. And I would have been like, be in my photo shoot. Like, this would be cute.
I mean, that would
Like
be
the Old
really
Mills,
hilarious.
Like the little shoulder poses when like
yeah.
everyone's on each other's shoulders.
No, I'm picturing more of a, like, you running with the robe flying out behind you being chased by the car. Those...
Oh, gosh. I'd be like, okay, this is going to look real boss. Like, y'all stand on each side of the bed. I'm going to sit on the bed, and you guys are going to be like my security detail. It would have been funny. But they would have gotten in trouble or fired. But it would have been great.
But it would have made up for the fact
So
that
that's
some
my
strangers...
not true crime that happened.
I feel like that's true crime. I mean, it was,
I don't even know what the crime was, but...
playing with sheets. That's not allowed.
No.
No
not
sheets.
in this country.
No sheets, guys.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Anywho.
that's pretty fantastic, actually.
That's my embarrassing story with the cops. I would much rather have dreamt that.
Yeah.
Yet here I am living it.
Mine was just like, it was just one of those icky feelings where it's like,
I hate
man,
when you
I have
wake up
screwed
like
up
that.
and there's nothing I can do at this point. Like, it's just too late. And
Yeah.
I was so bummed.
Oh, God, that's scary.
So,
I don't like it.
but now that I'm awake, at least I can say, like, of all the crimes that I might go to jail for, that's probably not one.
Yeah.
So,
I can agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, I have a couple stories.
I know, because I forgot my notebook. But I technically have a story, a little baby one.
A little
that I can
baby
tell.
story. Cool. All right. So, here's what I did. I'm about to sneeze. Hold on.
Okay. She lied. Liar. Big ol' liar. She's not even sneezing.
False alarm. Okay.
False alarm. Later you're going to be like, and then...
Right. So we had that predictive text game in our Facebook group.
Yeah.
And I chose 2 people's crimes that
Look at
they...
you.
What was it? Tell me a true crime story about, and then
you just
whatever.
did it. Yeah.
So I chose 2 to tell you true crime stories about.
I love it.
So the first one, and actually, you know what? I gotta pull up the Facebook post.
Yeah, you got to tell me like whose predictive text you're basing this
That's
off
right. Let's see how fast I can do this.
of. We can just edit in some waiting music.
Oh, we've had that conversation though
I know.
about not copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Let's.
All right, so here's the first one.
Okay.
I'm going to read this as it is written
Well, yeah, because they always sound a little weird because it is predictive.
because
text.
it's right. It's not a human being writing it.
Yeah.
And let's see. This one was la la la.
Mm-hmm.
Rafaela Campos.
Cool.
Tell me a true crime story about a cab with the first one of the girls.
Oh, I remember seeing that one. That one was creepy.
Yeah. So that's my first one. So here we go.
Ooh, okay.
Now, here's the problem with this story.
Okay.
It takes place in another country,
Uh-huh.
and thus I cannot say any of the names.
Yes. Rename everyone.
So, well, what I did was I went through and I used one of those, like, pronounce this name thing, and then I spelled them all out phonetically.
Okay.
So basically, I'm going to butcher them in style.
Perfect. My favorite.
So, this one is about Gary Shunker.
Yep.
He was born in 1955. He's the bad guy.
Yes.
Okay. So he is also the cab driver because, of course, that's how this had to go. He started out as a painter and later moved on to driving auto rickshaws. Do you know what a rickshaw is?
No, I have no idea.
So it kind of looks, it's a cab, like he was driving people around in them, but it's not like a car. It's like a tricycle or like a 3-wheeled motorcycle, but then it has like a covering
like the cover,
on it.
yeah.
Yeah, and it looks
What are the
bizarre.
No, I'm gonna say it wrong. Like, what are they called? Like a tuk-tuk or whatever. And like, oh, it's in a movie. They're like, get in the tuk-tuk.
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it because now I feel like an idiot. So you might have to edit this part out if I don't figure it out.
This is that's how we're gonna use our time now.
Oh, yeah, it is a tuk-tuk. That's what it's called.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Except the one that he was driving in 1955, not that pretty.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
But yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Look at me knowing
Also
things.
known as a rickshaw.
Yes.
Okay, so he was driving them not so much to like drive like a taxi, like pick people up and take them to where they want to go. He used it for all sorts of illegal activity.
Oh my gosh.
So he started out transporting illicit Eric, which is essentially moonshine.
Okay.
So
he doesn't even have like a trunk. You know how everything's always in the back, like in the trunk of some
he
guy's
just
car?
would like stick it in the back seat, drive it around.
Zip up the side.
Right. It's pretty much. And so he was a trafficker for a while, and then he was like, yeah, that's great and all, but I think now what I'd like to do is drive around, and this was their phrasing and not mine, harems of young women who were either voluntarily or in a lot of cases involuntarily prostituted. And so he would drive them around to customers.
Oh God.
And he was in this business with a bunch of other people. Like he essentially led a gang. So some of the other people he was involved with, here's where we like super embarrass myself for no good reason, because these names don't even come up again.
Okay.
Mohan, who was his brother, his brother-in-law, Eldon, and then, Shivaji, which is kind of fun to say.
Yeah.
Jailavaloo,
That was a good
less
one.
fun to say. Rajaraman, Ravi, Palani, and this one's awful.
I so badly wanted you to end this with and Gus. Like,
And-
and something I can pronounce.
Gus. Paramasivim,
Oh.
that is a long one.
Yeah.
So anyway, those were some of the people that he like was in this gang with, or he led, and then there were other people as well. And he essentially established himself as, he called it, the uncrowned king of all nefarious activities in whatever the location was he was in.
Not a good thing.
No, right?
Like, look at me go.
Right. I am king of all that is illegal and bad.
No.
He opened up and ran several prostitution dens. That was like
Ew.
his big business, right? And also a good excuse to have a rickshaw to drive them all around.
Oh, shit.
But it was really easy for him, and he didn't worry about going around calling himself the uncrowned king of all nefarious activities, which is actually kind of a cool title, because the police were totally cool with it and in on it and
Oh, my gosh.
good with it, right?
Where was this?
Yes.
You know? Okay. I don't know. I just like...
So basically I took out all the place names
Okay.
because I couldn't pronounce any
Like,
of them.
country-wise, is it...
I do. Hold on. We'll get there.
Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. I may not have written it down, but
I mean-
never fear. I'll let you know what country
Okay.
it's in at some point in the future. Okay. So in 1987, this may not have actually been his first crime, but it ends up or not crime, but like first murder.
Oh.
Spoiler alert, murder. But it becomes like the first one they can prove that he did later on.
Okay.
So there are definitely others. But 1987, there is a young woman who is sort of in his inner circle. Her name is Lalitha. And she runs away with somebody else in his inner circle. Like, we're going to get out of this life and run away and romantic, blah,
That
blah,
never
blah.
works.
Never works. They get tracked down and brought back. They club her to death. And then they bury her in a vacant plot.
Oh, God.
The confidant is not so lucky.
Oh.
He is burned to death.
Ah.
He's set on fire. Once he is all burned up, they take what is left of him and they wrap it up in a blanket, and then they take it out and toss it in the water.
Ew.
Yep. So his gang keeps going. This doesn't slow them down. Like, whatever. We committed a couple murders. We're good. They keep going.
Ugh.
Sometime after this, 3 men attempt to, I don't know, I couldn't tell if they were rescuing or kidnapping, but like take away one of the women from like essentially his brothels.
Oh.
And that didn't go over well either.
Nope.
They get rounded up and beaten to death, and then they also bury their bodies.
Ugh.
So around this time, there's some political changes in the area. So the chief minister dies December of 1987, and for almost 2 full years, it's just like chaos, like no real governance, and like just so between January 1988 and 1989. So for that whole year, they're working on essentially changing over their governmental system to governor's rule, and they have a new leader. Around the time that all of this is going on, the parents of some of these missing men that tried to take the woman away and then got beaten to death approached the new governor, and they're like, hey, the cops wouldn't even take our statements. Like, they didn't believe us, or they didn't care, or they were, you know, in his pocket or whatever. Like, what, we need somebody to look into this.
Yeah.
And so the new leader is like, okay, we need to form a new team of police. And so they do.
Okay.
So all of this takes a while to get into play. Meanwhile, 9 teenage girls go missing.
9?
9.
Oh my God.
It's late 1988, so it all sort of comes to a head in December. So I'm thinking like October, November, December, somewhere in there. So 9 teenage girls go missing. At first, the people who were investigating their disappearances believed that these girls had been sold into prostitution by their families because they were not going to be able to afford to pay dowries for like their wedding, and they had nothing else to do with them, and so they sold them. But the families were like, no, oh my God, we would never do that. Like, our daughters are missing. Why are you not taking this seriously? And so eventually they kind of looked into it a little harder. It was helped out when a schoolgirl, and I have her name down here, Subbulakshmi, is maybe a little bit close to how you would say it.
Okay.
Went to the police and filed a report essentially saying that an auto rickshaw driver had attempted to kidnap her while she was walking in front of this wine shop. Right? They were like, oh, wonder if that's what happened to all these other teenagers that are also missing. So they put some detectives undercover. And eventually the detectives heard a rumor that there was a driver named Shankar who was behind all of these crimes and had murdered all these people and had, you know, been kidnapping girls and making them prostitutes and or killing them and burning their bodies and dumping their ashes in the water. And so they rounded him up and all of his accomplices, and they interrogated them. And it didn't take any time at all for the accomplices to be like, yeah, so let me go ahead and just tell you about all these murders that we have committed. So they confessed to the murder of Lalitha and her partner. They confessed to the murders of the 3 men. It's not clear if they confessed to any of the murders of or I don't know. I'm sure it is clear. Any of the murders of the teenage girls that went missing. But at least, like, it's sort of general knowledge that, yeah, they really did do that. He wasn't convicted of those murders. They explained how they disposed of the bodies. That meant that they could go and like dig up Lalitha and the 3 men that they had buried. Obviously, not so much the ones they burned and tossed in the bay. Yeah. So after they finally arrest Shankar, the policemen go through all of his property, and they find a diary which has all of these photos of all of these police officers from like the former regime, all different ranks of officers and politicians and everything posing with him, because essentially he was just in with all of law enforcement, which is how this was like no big deal. Wow. So the police in the photos were immediately suspended, or in the case of one of them, sent on a long leave. So like, hey, take some days off, and then later suspended. They sent him to prison.
Good.
where he immediately made friends with guards and a woman and escaped.
Not even surprised.
But then they tracked him down again, and they brought him back, and they hanged him.
Ooh, shit.
Along with 2 of his followers, his brother-in-law and one of his accomplices. And the 3 jail wardens who helped him escape originally were also punished.
Well, good.
Yes.
They should be.
So that is the...
that is crazy.
Right?
I hate when it's like... I mean, obviously it makes for a good story, but at the time when all these girls are like, well, we can't go to the police because they're in on it type of feeling.
Right.
Or like the people who were in on it to begin with and wanted to run away, they definitely knew the police were in on it. So
yeah,
like,
there
where
was
were
nothing they
supposed
could
to
do.
go?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That is insane.
So let's see. I'm going to try to find... Yeah. Oh, India. Duh. It's in India. India.
I was going to guess India, but I didn't want to be like, well, judging by the names, it sounds like it's
Yeah. Well, and so it's so funny because as I was looking up all the pronunciations, like I had, either way, yes, India. So tell me a baby story, and then I have another challenge story to tell you.
Okay.
And next time you'll just have to do all the storytelling.
Let me see.
I'm going to eat this popsicle.
Go for it. Oh, no. Did I lose my baby stories? Hello. Okay, there it is.
Jordan's an utter slacker this week.
Oh, literally.
Lost her main story, lost her baby story.
I know. Okay, so literally, I love reading these, but I never tell you because they're so short. So I'm always like, I know I need something more. But I do love reading these. It's like the USA Today does like crimes of the week type of thing. Mm-hmm. So this is from the week of March 10th. And here are some baby stories. I'm going to read you the ones that I like. Woman poisoned husband cereal to avoid sex.
I
Effective
totally get
way.
where she's coming from.
Yeah.
No.
That's how you do it. No. So
I've done that.
a Nevada woman is still on the run after almost 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
She confessed to poisoning his Lucky Charms.
His Lucky
I
Charms.
know. And then she's been on the run. And her.
Did they not hold her after her confession?
That's why I'm like, how does she admit it and then run? Like,
right.
what?
And they're like, okay, well, turn yourself in next
It
Tuesday.
says
And
the husband, now an ex. Well, I would hope so.
I thought maybe he was dead.
Oh no, he's still kicking. Has moved to California, but says he's still worried that she'll just resurface. In 2015, okay, so this is from March 10, 2017, not this year. So last year, March, okay.
Well, or the year before.
Or that, what? 2017, March?
I thought you said it was from 2015.
15, because it was 2 years. She's been on the run 2 years. So that's why I was like, wait, it's 17,
Okay.
not 18.
Okay. I thought you were saying that 15.
2 years ago from a year ago.
So 3 years ago.
It's so funny. She admitted to putting borac acid and poisoned ale. Well, it's like what you do to kill pests and like stuff. In her husband's cereal and as well as other foods. Just to.
So I just feel like he's not in any danger if she turns up and he doesn't like try to make her have sex with him.
Right? I don't. She went a little far. Like
That is a
chill out.
lot a bit far. How about just no thanks?
Yeah, no. And then if
Have
he
a
doesn't
headache.
take no for answer, then you leave. Mm-hmm. That's just all it is.
Well, or then you poison him.
Right. Okay, so then this one. High-speed chase begins in the unluckiest of spots. I love that title because it's like, what happens?
What is the unluckiest of spots?
A woman weaved aggressively through a funeral procession in Virginia. I wish I knew where. Mm-hmm. But it's a Saturday afternoon and ultimately led police on a chase hitting speeds of more than 100 miles per hour.
Oh, wow.
As deputies escorted the funeral. Is it procession? Mm-hmm. Procession. I hate that word. Police say that Cara Deans, a 22-year-old woman not involved with the procession, started changing lanes and passing cars. Cops say she ultimately had a pretty tasteless maneuver.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, through a funeral. Like,
did she have any reasoning? Like,
It's just a quick story, so you don't get a whole lot of details. You just get a little taste. But
I have so many questions.
But yeah, over 100 miles an hour. That's a crazy police chase.
That is really fast.
Because I mean, I watched a lot of live PD, and they go that fast, but like on an interstate.
Right.
I'm sure they were not on an interstate.
No, probably not.
They're
Not if it was a funeral procession.
It's probably locally. Wow. But yeah, so that was crazy.
That's just, what if you hurt somebody who was at a funeral? Like, that's the shittiest day with like the shittiest, like that's terrible.
Like, especially cutting in and out. Like, I've only been through like 2, but I was so stressed because I was like, I have to stay as close to the person in front of me so we stay in a tight line so the police can escort us. Like,
right.
I don't know why it just stressed me out so much, but I can't imagine someone cutting me off and getting in and out and just driving like that. That would stress me out. And my last little baby story. A 10-year-old's idea of fun gets a mom arrested.
Oh, no. Oh, wait. I think I know what this is.
Go ahead. It says, not surprising. A 10-year-old boy proclaimed, "This is fun." I like it what's quoted. As he zips around town behind the wheel of his mom's Jeep Grand Cherokee. Even less surprising, the mom is getting arrested, allegedly letting him do so. Which...
Is that the one where she recorded it and stuck it on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's 38. It says...
Oh, okay. See, I'm not even 38. There's no excuse.
I'm not even anything 30 yet. And I would be like,
there
get
is
the
no
F out of my F
for
and I would
that.
have lost my shit. And it says the potentially surprising part of all of this is it's on Facebook.
That's... Nope. Mm-mm.
Like...
Taken...
10?
Right?
Like, I used to drive my mom's car down our long dirt driveway, get the mail, and come back, literally reverse all the way back down. I didn't even turn the car around. Like, I just went forward, and then I'd go back. And that was it. And
When you were 10?
No, not 10. I was probably, like, 14.
Okay, so, like...
But, like, in a year, I'm getting my permit.
Right.
So it wasn't that weird.
And were you on private property the whole time?
It was just my mom's driveway.
So then, yeah.
So it was like, but even then, like, I was so stressed out driving. I can't imagine being 10.
Right.
I don't even think I could have reached the pedals at 10.
I know that the only child I've had that has yet been 10 couldn't. Sophie won't be able to reach the pedals when she's like 17.
I know she's gonna be one of those girls that like sits right up on the wheel and like has to peek over.
Yeah,
she's gonna be
so
little.
on a phone book. And
yeah.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna have to get her like a wedge pillow, like
Definitely.
an old lady pillow.
Yep. I actually have one of those from when she was an infant because she wouldn't let me put her down even to sleep.
I remember that.
Yep. So I have one because I slept sitting up with her on my chest for a really long time.
But those
yeah,
are my
no, I
little
can't
baby stories.
imagine.
Yeah, no,
Why?
God.
Why would you do? Idiot.
Why would you think
Why
that was
would
a
you
good
do
idea?
that? And then even if you thought it was a good idea, why would you put it on Facebook? Do you not understand how the internet works?
When people Facebook Live, when they're doing, like, we know exactly where you are right now. Like, why are you doing, like,
yeah.
I just don't get it.
You think that everybody who is friends with your friends' friends is not going to tell on you.
Right? No, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, people are stupid, which is sort of what our whole podcast
That is
about.
true. That is true.
All right. I have another challenge.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. I got to pull it up.
My phone is glitching because it hates me.
Here we go. So this is actually where I started, and I did not find nearly as many cases as I thought I was going to on this topic. So this one's my sister. Tell me a true crime about the cats and cats in my house. And I can tell you exactly why her predictive text said that.
Yeah.
So we're in the process of moving.
Yeah.
And we super lucked out. Of course, now I'm going to jinx it. But we had exactly one couple come look at our house before we had an offer.
Okay.
Which is amazing, right? So my sister is selling her house, and they live in an area where real estate turns over really, really fast. But over the course of a week, they had like a ton of showings.
Yeah.
Well, she's at home on maternity leave.
Oh.
They have 2 cats and a dog.
Yep.
And she has a baby who's a month and a half
Yeah.
old. Not even a month and a
teeny
half.
baby.
Like a month old. Sammy. And So her husband is back at work, and her oldest son is at school, and then her middle son is at daycare. Right? And so it's just her, the baby, the 2 cats, and the dog. So every time there's been a showing, she's had to pack all of that nonsense into her car and like figure out you can't go to a park with cats.
Yeah.
You can't go to a store with cats and dogs. Like there's nowhere for them to go. So she's just been like nearly homicidal herself.
Oh, I don't blame her at all.
Plus her baby is super needy and like always wants, like Sophie, always wants to be held.
Yeah.
And, So, so she's at her wit's end with all of that. So I'm sure that's why it said cats. So my goal was to find a story about cats who were involved in a crime, like maybe they murdered somebody.
Oh my gosh, that's my biggest fear. To have a cat, if I die, it'll just eat my body.
Well, okay, so if you die, it totally will eat you.
I know.
But
Julius wouldn't.
Was well, not right away. I was unable.
Don't ever say that.
I was unable to find any evidence that a cat has ever killed anybody who wasn't an infant. They have accidentally killed babies. Like
I don't like that.
Well, like smothering them. That's happened a couple of times.
Sad. I don't like that.
And
dogs wouldn't kill babies.
A dog would totally kill a baby. A dog will kill a grown up. But
Julius wouldn't.
They've had rabies and they've had like different diseases, and they've not to kill babies.
I don't know why this is making me really uncomfortable, but like I gotta stop freaking out.
But no cat has ever intentionally killed anyone
that they know of.
That we know of.
Cats could totally
no
smother
domesticated
someone
cat.
and be like, no one will ever expect me because I'm a cat.
Right. So I did find an article that was talking about. Oh, look, my dog is like, I would never kill you, Mom. That was talking about a woman who got all scratched up by a cat. And, like, they found her, I think she must have been unconscious when they found her, like her daughter found her or something. And she was all scratched up, and they thought somebody had broken into the house and attacked her. And then when they took her to the doctor and they like examined the doors and all of that, there was no evidence of a break-in. And then they were like, actually, this looks more like animal scratches. And there were apparently a bunch of wild or like feral cats, not necessarily like wild, but like feral house cats that lived in the alley behind her house. And they think that she had gone out there to feed them or whatever, and they had attacked her. And then, but she was terrifying. Okay. Like she didn't die or anything. And I read an article that talked about cats biting and scratching and how they don't have the power to kill a human. Like they don't have any bite power like dogs do. Like dogs have really insanely strong jaws.
Yes.
Cats just don't.
I know, they have such pointy teeth. It hurts so bad.
They do have really pointy teeth, but they're really small. I mean, you can't puncture but so much. You can't, even puncture like an artery or something. So
it's so funny in my head. I'm so scared of when like Sarah's cat Jack, because he likes to bite and like claw and play. It terrifies me. But then Julius is biting my arm, and I'm like, like my hand's all in his mouth, and he's like chewing on my hands. I'm like, oh, this is so great. No, and I'm so scared of cats.
Well, cats are pretty safe. The only cat crimes that I could find that were like crimes committed by cats were like the story that you told about. There's a ton of
like klepto cats.
So many klepto cats.
They're like collectors.
Yes. There was one story that talked about this cat that would only never stole anything until the family he lived with had a baby, and then it started bringing toys home.
Oh my god, but that's
animals,
cute,
right?
It was like, here, little thing.
Right.
It's like I love watching videos of like animals and babies when they like take care of them. Like the dog that tucks in the baby and like scooches the blanket. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Do that to me. I'll lay on the floor and be like, tuck me in.
Tuck me in.
Julius tucks me in by like spinning in a circle, and I just know by the way he walks, I'm like, he's gonna he's gonna sit on me, he's just gonna throw his whole body on me, and I just prepare myself, and then I get I tense my whole body, and then he just looks at me and he just flops like right on me. So then he puts his head on my chest and he just looks at me like, this is what you want. And I'm like, okay, I can't breathe.
But I don't want to move you because I don't want you to think I don't love you.
Right? So then I'm like, can you just scoot over a little bit?
Just off of me.
But anywho, sorry. I really missed Julius today, apparently.
Apparently, you've only been
I
here
just
for...
love him.
You haven't even been away from him for like 8 hours yet.
I know. He's just cute.
I mean, he is pretty cute. There was a cat that collected toys, excuse me, for himself, but...
Greedy.
Yes, but apparently really preferred little, like, leopard-looking cat stuffies. And he had collected...
like little cat babies.
Yeah, he collected like 15
Like
of the
beanie babies.
same exact one. And
How?
they looked like Happy Meal toys to me.
Oh.
So I don't know
wonder
where...
he was going.
I have no idea.
Sneaking into McDonald's.
Maybe.
Taking them up, opening the package up, taking
Taking
the
it
toy.
home.
I gotta
Well,
go.
I don't know if there was a McDonald's nearby, like that dog that tried to buy lunch with leaves.
Oh my god.
Maybe the cat would just go there and they
And
were
just
like,
knew.
here you go.
Yeah. Just knew. Oh, that dog was so cute.
That was super cute.
I love it.
Anyway, so all of that as an intro to the fact that I did not come away with a crime committed by a cat. Instead, this is a crime solved in part by a cat.
Just as good,
Right?
if not better.
So, July 2012.
Okay.
Okay. The police discover, although I assume somebody else discovered and then called the police. They always say police discover.
I'm
like the
give
police
some
are
credit to the
combing
people.
beaches.
I always think of Spaceballs when they have the actual big combs and they're combing the sand. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Police and or some poor person who's going to have nightmares for the rest of their lives discovers the dismembered torso
Oh no.
of David Gee
Aw, poor David.
on a South Sea beach. He is wrapped in a curtain
Oh.
and like, well, what is
is
present is wrapped in a curtain.
Oh no.
They have
it
a
a plastic
suspect.
curtain? Because that's not good for the environment, everybody.
I
hate to say
I'm
it.
fairly certain a dismembered torso on a beach wrapped in any kind of curtain is
Yeah, I
not
know,
good.
but I'm like, if you're gonna throw them in the ocean, like,
Well, if you're going to throw somebody in the ocean,
do
don't
you
wrap
need
them
a
in
curtain?
anything.
Yeah.
Then sea life will eat them and you don't have to
but
worry
they
about them
eat
being
plastic.
found.
They're gonna be like, ugh,
Right.
and then they're gonna leave them be.
Plus, then you've like trapped everything inside there, all the evidence and your fingerprint, and in this case, okay, so they
cat,
have
no.
a cat, an entire cat. They had a suspect right away.
Oh.
David Hilder was a neighbor of Gee's, and I
Oh.
don't know exactly what makes him a suspect because this is my short story, so I didn't do
Okay.
very much research.
That's okay.
But they were pretty sure it was him.
They just knew.
And they did. They were like, you know who I bet murdered this
His
dismembered
neighbor.
torso? I bet it was his neighbor. So, because his name is also David.
There can only be one.
They did find, so this is where I think this story is funny. They found traces of Gee's blood at Hilder's house.
Oh.
So, like, I feel like that's pretty damning
Yeah.
evidence. Like, if you already think he's a suspect and then you go there
his
and
blood.
find his blood.
Yeah.
However, the part of the story that, like, the article really played up was they also found cat hairs wrapped in the curtain with the torso.
Can't yeah, if you have a cat hair's on everything.
Everything,
Everything. If you're gonna be a
Everything.
murderer, don't have a pet.
pretty much.
Because I have Julius's hair all over all
Everywhere.
my stuff.
So, they sent the cat hairs to California for analysis of the mitochondrial DNA.
Sorry, my mind is being so dumb. I just imagined, like, I must be tired because my brain was, like, imagining cat hairs, like, sitting on a plane.
Oh my God.
And, like, wearing sunglasses. Like, let's
They were
go to
like,
California.
You've had a rough day. We're going to send you on a trip to California. Okay, you're not allowed to talk anymore.
I I cannot. Okay. Oh, my other vision was them in a jar, and then someone's like holding the jar, like sitting on the plane, like, I get to go to California with this cat.
This cat hair. So
Okay.
okay.
I'm so sorry.
They wanted analysis of mitochondrial DNA.
Smart.
So mitochondrial DNA is the DNA that's
The
passed.
powerhouse of the cell.
Yes.
Like the meme. It's like, I don't remember anything from school. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's like, but it's not anymore. It's like, fuck, I don't know anything.
Nothing.
That's me.
All right. So passed down from mom to baby, or mama cat to kittens.
Oh.
And they found out that, so they tested it and they did match. Tinker, who was David Hilder's cat.
What a cute name.
Yep. They matched those hairs to the mitochondrial DNA from his cat to the hairs that they found. They said this was the first time that cat DNA had ever been used in a criminal trial in the UK. And as such, prosecutors not only had to like get this hair tested and find a match, but they also had to prove that like that was a legitimate thing to do, because like we know that human DNA is very specific, right?
Yeah.
But do we know that about cats? Like they had to prove that it would be very rare for two cats to share the same mitochondrial DNA. Mm-hmm. It's not nearly as rare as like the whole of DNA. But so what they did is they took mitochondrial DNA from 152 British cats.
Oh, holy crap.
And which is a lot of cats to go around and collect and take their DNA.
They probably just went to like a shelter and just was
maybe
like,
or a bunch of
pluck,
shelter.
pluck.
Well, so the article said that it was a cooperation between like a whole bunch of vets.
Oh.
So I think probably they just like called
That's smart.
everybody in that area and they were like, "Hey, ask your patients if it's cool if you pluck a couple hairs when you're doing, Fluffy's appointment or Tinker's appointment."
Mm-hmm.
And then of course they also analyzed Hilder's cat. What they found is out of the 152 cats that they tested, only 3 were matches to these hairs.
Oh.
And since one of them belonged to the suspect, that was good enough.
Okay.
Right. And so they did eventually convict Hilder of manslaughter.
Oh, wow.
But they were really excited because they said there are roughly 10 million cats in the UK. And because of the way that cats groom themselves and they're forever brushing up against things and they're forever licking themselves to groom themselves, that they are spreading DNA all the time. And so this could be a really great thing for forensic science because, oh gosh, what was it? More than a quarter of the households in the UK have cats. So apparently it's a big cat place.
Apparently so.
So they were saying, this is going to be a great thing, if we can always use this to prove, like, you can find a cat hair, sure. And then you can at least place somebody in a certain area or narrow down your suspect pool or whatever else. And so even though, like, the blood evidence obviously was stronger and whatever other evidence they had was stronger, the cat DNA evidence did help to reinforce the prosecutor's case and help convict him. And because I know that this is the most important part of the story, Tinker the cat is alive and well and living with new owners.
Oh, good.
Who presumably won't murder their neighbors.
Well, if not, they already got this on lock, so...
Right. That's true.
Cat in the system now.
It's true. Like their new they need to tell those new owners, hey, just so you know,
like don't try to be.
Your cat's DNA is on file.
You better chill it out.
That's right.
Get along with your neighbors.
That's right.
Oh, that's funny.
So
that was a good story. I liked it.
That is my cat story.
I like it.
So the only other little story that I have, because apparently I came over prepared with like way too many cats, and I don't have it with me, but I didn't print it out, but I read an article about they are having this outbreak of people on bikes and mopeds snatching cell phones from people's hands.
Oh,
I think in the UK.
I wish someone would. Right. Man, I wouldn't let go. I'd let them drag me too. I'd be like, you know how much I have left to pay on this?
Right. Well, so in order to alert people to this so that they are aware of their surroundings and all, they have, how they have those like public service posters and things that the police put out. They traditionally will do something and it's like a scare tactic, right?
Yes.
So the poster or the sign that they made for this had a woman and she had like a shooting range target, like the oval one, and she's looking at her phone and it's all like blued out, and then the target is overlaid so that it's like looking at her phone, and then there's like a little scary guy on a bike in the other corner and it says, be aware of your surroundings, this is happening, blah blah blah.
Oh my gosh.
That's like a traditional sign that you would put out,
Yeah.
right? Like try to shock people and get their attention. Well, I don't know who came up with the idea, but they also thought they would test out this new campaign that they called Copcat. So #Copcat.
I love it already.
And they had a cop cat and a bad guy cat on a bike and a girl cat with a cell phone. And then they had a list of, or it said like, naughty cats on bikes have been snatching phones or something. And so then the police officer cat is like giving advice, but it's like, oh God, I wish I could remember some of them.
I wonder how much the marketing department got for this.
It was so punny. Like when people use perfect like that, right?
Yeah.
Something about your personal
whatever,
right? It was
That-
really, really corny.
That's beautiful.
Right. So they tested it by putting these signs together. And then they also had like a social media campaign, like the #Copcat thing that went along with it. And turns out people remember the cat one a whole lot better.
Oh, yeah.
They're more likely to follow
yeah.
that. And like,
That's so funny.
yeah, it was more effective. So they were going to do a larger scale launch.
A larger copcat.
Larger Copcat.
That's funny.
So there, Morgan, we sort of dedicated
Yeah.
a whole episode to your
A whole
cats.
lot of cats to you. That's funny.
And cabs.
Yes.
Cabs-ish. Like a tricycle cab.
I'm so proud of myself that I knew it was called a tuk-tuk. That's like in Thailand. That's what they call it. Like, I have no idea why I knew that. Like, I've never been there. But
Right.
it must have been a movie because I kind of just remember, like, that in my brain.
I mean, it's a funny word. It would stay. It's like the Copcat thing.
Yeah.
You're going to always remember Copcat, too.
Well, yeah, of course. That's so funny. I don't know if we have anything shout-outy.
I don't think we do, except thanks, everybody, for your patience.
Yeah, I know.
And thanks for playing my Facebook game.
I know, that was cute.
If you have Facebook games, you're certainly welcome to propose them and or start them in the Facebook group because I really like Facebook games.
Yeah, well, I like the predictive text ones a lot.
Me too. And I always want to do them, or like I participate on them or in them on other, not boards, in other groups and
I
pages
do that.
and things. But they're not crime related. So
Yeah. My friends and I do the all like the Harry Potter one or this one.
Yes.
We do those a lot.
Yeah, the last one I did was something about sex.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember what the sentence was, but I just remember it was all very, very disturbing when we were complaining.
I had to go back and read what my tell me a true crime story about.
Oh, yes.
It was tell me a true
crime.
We're starting over. Tell me a true crime story about a month ago, and I was wondering if you could send me a picture.
Yes.
No. I don't want any pictures. I don't want anything from a month ago. No. They were all pretty funny.
I also liked Mike Cole's tell me a true crime story about how to get the money I love. I have to go to the store and get some chicken noodle soup, and I'll be there at night.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
I thought the second part was that he was actually going to get chicken noodle soup and he was going to come to your house because it was the game night.
Oh, it was the game.
So I was like, oh, maybe he just decided to tell you his plans while he was talking.
He brought me eggs. That's sort of chickeny.
That's true.
So yeah, come and play and give us some more. There's a couple others on here that I won't read because I'm like, oh, I could actually use that in a story. There's a couple of them that I was like, I would like to just tell you how this story goes based on what you have said. So at any rate, so yeah.
We'll be back soon.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks.
Yes.
And in the meantime, come play in Facebook,
Yes.
because while I don't always have enough time to edit an episode, or we don't have enough time to record an episode, I do have enough time to play silly games on Facebook and occasionally answer email and talk to you on Twitter, although I haven't done that in a really long time.
I'm never a Twitter person.
No.
Like, I'm one of those people that just shares my posts from Instagram to Twitter. So it's
Right.
just a bunch of that.
Right.
I did tell Toby the other day that I was going to start tweeting the funny things he says.
Yes.
Because
he's just full of
Oh my
funny
gosh, he
things.
cracks me up all the time.
Yeah, like his song about William Shatner.
I don't even know. I cannot. He said something the other day, and I was just like, what? Oh, horses have mouths or something like that.
Right.
We were at
Like it
Chick-fil-A,
was a revelation.
and we were just talking, and he wasn't saying anything, and then all of a sudden I got quiet, and he goes, horses have mouths. I was like, you're not wrong. Why are you saying that? Yeah, they have feet too. Okay, I don't know. It was just so random. He cracks me up.
It's very true, though.
anyhow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So talk to us on anything, and we will respond.
We get notifications, so if you talk to us first, we'll definitely respond.
True.
Whether or not we'll get on there to initiate conversation, I don't know.
Trying.
But yeah, so, and then also you can visit our website at crimecrazypodcast.com and you get to all of our social media and our Patreon page and become an
Yes.
awesome Patreon supporter. And that is about it. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so, except for now you guys have 2 weeks to be really good, because I can't say next week's episode.
Diana, we're talking to you.
Yes, because I heard, Diana. I'm looking at you. No, so now you have 2 whole weeks. You guys have to be good. So please don't end up on 2 weeks from now's episode.
We have 2 weeks to find out about it, so.
That's true.